It's your girl Racqui B with the rundown each and every Monday right here, 100.9 FM WXIR. Stay locked in and catch this episode is lit. Whatever, man. If you're just tuning in, as a rundown with your girl Racqui B each and every Monday right here from 4 to 6. Man, we got like 45 minutes left.
Yeah, we got about 45 minutes left. I got my girl Tiffany Nicole in the building. I'm trying to get her to come to sober party. You think I can?
Yes. I mean, she's a PK, so.
I mean, Racqui says it all the time, but I've actually never been to a sober party.
It's not like a regular party.
It's not like a regular party. You will have a good time. You will have a good time.
Is it in Rochester?
Yeah. It is in Rochester.
It's at MLK.
Okay.
Nah, that okay didn't sound.
No, it didn't sound convincing at all. It did not sound convincing at all.
I'll pull up to your house and blow the horn until your parents come out and be like, sure, I will. I'll sneak you out like we was going to church back in the day. Then we go to a party. I'll be like, listen.
So I'm actually
we're going to a revival, Dad. Yeah, we're going to a revival.
We're going to a revival service. I'm not even a revival service. I'm like, no, we're going door to door. What's it called again when you go door to door?
Evangelizing?
See, she knows what it is.
Goodbye.
You a counterfeit PK. You the real dude.
I told you, I was asleep right there.
Listen, Tiffany. I've been wanting to interview you for so long. It's the right time because I feel like you have a beautiful story. You do have a beautiful story, and I wanted to get you in. I just needed the right time. And you know what made me hit you up? I was watching Greenleaf. Do you watch Greenleaf?
I love Greenleaf.
You love Greenleaf. Okay, so as you know what, as a PK, as a pastor's kid, that's what PK stands for those who don't know. As a pastor kid, how do you perceive that? Do you like Greenleaf? Do you think it's a great, is it an accurate portrayal?
I love Greenleaf because it definitely has the perception of that PKs are perfect and that we don't mess up. So I think that it does a very good job at breaking down that stereotype of PKs. As far as the show within itself, there are a lot of churches that I know of that perfectly fits into the Greenleaf lifestyle, and that is no shade to the churches, but I think people tend to forget that PKs and pastors are normal people just like everybody else.
Right.
I think we put them on a pedestal that we ourselves cannot live up to and live up to that standard. So when we find out of their flaws and their public sins, it's kind of like, ooh, but he's a pastor, he shouldn't be doing this, and she's a PK, she shouldn't be doing this. You know what I'm saying? So I do like the fact that it has those elements of surprise where, you know, the bishop is unfortunately having an affair with the first lady's sister, and then the first lady has had a child that she has for so long said this was bishop's daughter, and it really wasn't. Ooh. So you know that all of those things play into a big part of the church itself, and then Christ's love for the church, and then it's messy, but it's
Greenleaf?
I mean, it's the truth and it's the church. So I personally enjoy the show. Like I said, I know a lot of churches that have fallen into that category.
Ooh,
yeah.
Ooh. So as a pastor's kid, do you feel like how do you deal with the pressure? Because I know I've seen on social media that you sometimes, comment on the fact that people don't think you guys are real, have real feelings and go through real things. So do you feel the pressure constantly? I know that you commented on sometimes how you dress, they make comments and
so as an adult now, the pressure isn't really much so of like walking and being perfect. It's more so following into my parents' footsteps versus when I was a kid, when it was like you were in school, you were supposed to do what you were told, you were never supposed to do anything bad or talk back to adults. You always had to look a certain way. So as a kid, I definitely had that pressure. I felt that I had to walk a straight and narrow path. So I think that when I started becoming vocal about my journey as a pastor's kid and telling people oh no, I actually, I drunk, I I partied and I had sex before I got married and I did all of these things. Yeah, a PK. So when I started like, you know, being vulnerable enough to tell other PKs, like, listen, like, it's not just you that's doing these things. I did it too. I think people started seeing me more as a human versus as this like crystal shell of a pastor's kid.
Right. And how do your parents respond to you doing these things?
So the crazy thing about it is my parents are my pastors and my leaders, but the amazing thing about them is they're very vocal with what they did as before they became pastors. So we never received that pressure from our parents. So I'm kind of grateful.
Always the outside.
It's always the outside. You never get that pressure from your parents. Of course, they want you to be as close to Christ-like as they've raised you.
Right.
But it was never pressure like you have to be perfect, you have to do this, you have to do that. I didn't really get that from them. So once they started finding out about the things that I did or my siblings did, it was kind of like, oh, okay, well, I mean, you know, just don't go straight too far away.
Right.
That was their only thing, you know. Don't do too much where your life is going to be affected by it negatively. So I like I said, I didn't get any pressure from them. It was always people from church.
You know why? Because they're praying for you. Yeah,
that's true.
You know,
it sounds like a joke,
yeah,
but ultimately that's what they do.
Like my dad and my mom was like, I'm praying for you. I'm like, you do that.
Because I feel like
I got older, like I would say like 95% or around 95% of my friends all somewhere that I'm glad I'm not. And it's like you look at it now, you're like, damn, it could have been right there. So it's like, and then I just keep remembering, so not everything goes by the wayside. There's a lot of things that you be like, yeah, whatever. And then the other things you're like, yeah, I'm alive because of prayer.
Right. And the good thing about that is, from what my parents always told us as we were kids, there are certain things that I can instill in you, and then there are certain things that you have to learn by life. Period. Like, life is the best teacher. So yes, I'm raising you to do this and do that, but you have to make some kind of mistakes to learn, like, this is not the way.
Talk about it.
Have you ever asked yourself a question as God?
Of course.
You know what? And I'm gonna piggyback off of that because I want to go into Greenleaf. Now in Greenleaf, the granddaughter, she and this is another reason why I felt you when I watched this. I'm like, oh, Tiffany, the granddaughter had to have her a hysterectomy, and you've had to have a hysterectomy at a young age as well, right? At 29, I believe. 21, you had a hysterectomy. And then that question, now she's battling with her faith. Is God real? Why did God put me through this? Have you ever had questioned God when this happened to you?
I questioned God before that happened to me.
Wow.
So my dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer when I was 15. I was a sophomore in high school. And at the time, the doctor that he was seeing was saying, you know, if we do surgery, there's a 95% chance that you can bleed out on our table and you can die. And so when my mother, because my mother is you know, we're a family, we're a unit, everything that's going on, we're all going to know. So when my mother came home and told us that, I was just like, there is no way that my dad is a pastor. He's always at church. He's always doing church things. He's going to allow my dad to die. So I questioned God then. And then it was like, when it was my time to go through something like detrimental like that, it was just like, so is this God's will? Like, is this something that, a lot of times we question, like, if this is really God, if he's allowing this, or this is Satan. And so there's no God. It's not allowed this to happen. Absolutely not. And I will put this disclaimer out. It's totally normal to question God.
Right.
It's totally normal in humans to have that reaction, like, why? And if God is really real, why is he allowing this to happen to me? So I definitely have those questions. I like went through my moments where I was just like, I don't want to have anything to do with the church. I don't want to have anything to do with God. Like, I'm all set on it. And you know, all of us, especially as PKs, I think we go through that more often than those that are not attached to any type of
because there's drills in your head and everybody looks at you.
Yeah, and then you kind of feel guilty for questioning God. But you know, I honestly feel like if I did not have that situation to happen, and if I had never gone through everything that I'm going through with my cancer and endometriosis and all of that. Like, I don't even know, like, what kind of woman would I be if I had never experienced it. And it sounds crazy to say, but all of that has contributed to the person that I am, how, like, you know, I'm able to help other women that is going through that, and even those that aren't. Because I think sometimes as women, and that women that are able to carry and conceive and birth children, I think sometimes they don't really understand the weight and the feeling of being inadequate as a woman if you are not able to, carry and conceive. So I'm able to help them look like, I read a status a couple of days ago, and the girl posted, like, well, if she's 25 with no kids, then something must be wrong. Or I'm just like, well, maybe she can't have kids. You know what I'm saying? That's my automatic response. Well, maybe she can't have kids. So maybe
she don't want kids.
Or maybe she don't want kids.
I know a lot of people that don't
there's
want
a
kids.
lot of situations that can happen, but let's not focus on maybe something is wrong with her.
Right.
I think we have to change the narrative. So, like I said, like I'm grateful for everything that has happened, especially that, because it's been monumental in my life.
But it took you a while to get to that point.
It's still taking me a while. Like, I'm still not to the point where I'm like okay with it. Like, I'm getting okay. Like, I still have my moments where I'm just like, dang, like, I kind of wish that I could have it. Right. And I kind of wish I could experience it. I still have those moments, and I think it's even more so because I did miscarry a child. So it's kind of like, what if that was, my baby? And so it's a little difficult, and I still have those moments where I'm just like,
so do you look at that as that's your testimony?
Right. Is that God? Do you think that was God?
I do. I really do.
I know it's something that says that God puts his greatest people through the hardest battles to come out of it on top. So even it might not look, because I've seen this before in my own church, that I seen somebody not able to have a kid, and they had a kid. Everybody was confused.
Right.
And I was like, all right, God, you playing games. I'm like, these people gotta be lying. There's a lot of things I didn't believe in the church. I used to look, but as I got older and I started seeing certain things, I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I see people that I never thought a day in my life, the hardest person, and they speak about God. I'm like, wait, you know God? How you know God? But that's the thing, is that everybody has their own relationship that they have to build with God. Yes. And it's not necessarily means that it has to be directly with somebody else. The relationship is with God.
Right.
As long as you build that own personal, he will. Basically, what I learned and what I know, like, I don't preach to everybody, but it's more or less, you will learn when something is not right. That could be God speaking to you, like, yeah, this ain't right.
Yeah.
And if you go against that and then something else happened to you, you know that was your punishment. Because you were told in the beginning that was not right.
Yeah. So right now, how do you even get through? How have you gotten through it?
So I've gotten through it by vicariously living with my friends that have kids. Like my goddaughter Nina, like, I was literally there right after she was born, and like, we used to live next door to each other, so I literally was there every single day. And like, Nina, like at the time when Nina was born, I was like going through like one of the worst seasons of my life, and then she was born, and it was kind of like I often share her pictures and whatever, and like, especially for her birthday, I always say like, she's my light. That's because she really is my light. Like, she was born, I feel like, she was born to her parents, but I feel like she was really born for me and to me, because like, I needed that constant reminder that even though I am a woman and this is my story and this is a part of who I am, like, I'm still very much so needed. So I live vicariously through my friends' kids, and I'm always like that cool. I aspire to be the cool auntie.
The cool auntie.
But there's like
barbecue.
There's like a word like no. They don't have one for aunt, but I feel like you need to bring that. Make up one.
I don't like those kind of aunties. At the end of the day, y'all bring back sugar up and everything else.
I'm not gonna bring it back sugar up, but they don't have bags and bags of clothes.
Then as the parents, you want to smack them upside the head and be like, yo, she really did this to us? Like,
yes.
Bro, you're not going to sleep? I've been through this, because I have a sister that's exactly like that. And I do the same thing that she just had a kid. I did the same thing, and she was like, oh, this kid, I said, yes.
Absolutely.
Well, you can take care of him. You can take him anytime.
So yeah, I live through, through my friends and through my friends' children, and then therapy is like definitely helped me a lot.
So you're not in therapy?
I'm definitely in therapy. I just started therapy in January of this year. And then pageants was kind of like my way to kind of like put a voice to everything I was experiencing. And I'm like, well, I can't be the only one that's experiencing it. And oddly enough, when I started talking about my journey with cancer and infertility and all of that, I had a lot of men inbox me and say that they struggle with the same thing. And it's like, I never thought that men had this issue. That, we always think that men are just like,
right.
And that's totally not the case. And I never factored in that men could actually be struggling the same way.
Yeah.
So I'm literally helping everybody.
The truth behind it is that women is much because I'm not. There's no way in hell I'm having a kid. I'll be straight up honest. I'm not doing a C-section. I'm not pushing it.
Well, thank you.
Y'all can hold on to that all day. I'm happy.
So how has this affected your dating life? I know, do you feel incompetent? Like you don't want to date because you don't think you're a woman?
I have shied away from dating a whole lot. So I've been single for 7 years, and
wow,
I feel like it's my duty to tell men, like, okay, so this is what's wrong with me. I can't have this. I can't do this.
When you start with that,
I feel like that kind of like pushes them away because it's like this isn't the time for you to tell them on the first conversation or the first few conversations.
Right.
So I personally have kind of like backed away from dating because I'm just like, there's that small insecurity that no man is gonna want to be with a woman that can't have children. And it's not true, but for a woman that feels that way, there's nothing that you can tell me that will make me feel different.
Right.
So I have kind of shied away from dating a little bit. It's kind of made me take a step back and reevaluate some things that I'm still struggling with.
Right.
And also, I don't know, I just feel like it's going to take I really feel like it's going to take a special man to just be like, Tiffany, like, I don't care. I want you and everything that comes with you. And until I find that, it's just...
Yeah, that'd be a hindrance to yourself. Because you keep thinking like that, it's like somebody probably already came by and you like,
Yeah, do you think you brush men off?
I absolutely brush men off.
So you're your own worst enemy.
And it's not because I don't want to date. I would love to date and I would love to experience love and all of that.
Disappointment, you just want.
But I don't want to be disappointed. So to avoid me being disappointed, I let you know from the gate, like this is what I struggle with.
Right. Don't you think that's a good strategy though? Like to let you know up front, like, hey, this is what it is. Just in case you guys, because some people go into dating and they're not on the same page, and that causes
some people have to give their STD screen.
How you go? Okay.
I'll just be honest.
You're talking whole but if you just put your cards on the table from the beginning, you guys are on the same page.
Cards.
Like, okay, I'm aiming for marriage. I have this amount of kids, or I can't have kids. That's what you want, or I don't want to get married. That's what you want. If we put our cards on the table from the jump, it would stop a lot of unnecessary heartbreak and drama in relationships.
That's part of relationships. So my whole thing is that you're trying to move away from what people that don't even know if they could have kids or not are in anyway. So to me, like, you're trying to push away from something that everybody don't want. Nobody wants to disappoint.
I kind of look at it as like I'm kind of avoiding unnecessary friction in our relationship later on down the line.
Yes.
Because I mean, a lot of times there are relationships and marriages that conversation never came up, and that woman or man has never told their spouse that they either cannot have children or they don't want to have children. And then when it comes time to conceive and we're wondering why, ding, 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 I can't have kids. But I never told you you've already fallen in love with me and you want me. But this is a huge part of you wanting me is us building the family together.
Then he really don't love you.
No, I mean, I don't know if
I believe that.
I don't think it's not that he don't really love you, but I think that when we think about love and building something with a person, we envision a whole total picture. We get married, we buy a house, we have kids to create a family, to create a legacy, and then we become grandparents. So all of that is a part of loving the person.
I think You got people basically walking around the store with kids. I could go adopt it. If I really feel that way about you, and it's not the same. I hear that, but
because it's different when you're carrying, carrying your own kid.
Yeah, when you created that child,
creating that child is different. Sorry, son.
Sorry, son. I'm just looking at it different. I gotta play devil's advocate. I gotta look at it.
I respect it.
To me, if you really in love with somebody, certain things I'll give credit, but certain things you just bypass as. You can have a kid could pass away. I've had a child passed away. So you can have a child passed away. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have another kid after that. Because a lot of people that have a miscarriage or even have a kid and a kid pass away, sometimes there's other problems that you have to rectify. So if that's the case, it's like, a matter of fact, check it out. Look at Papoose and Remy Ma. She can't have any more kids. And they don't have any kids together.
But she's pregnant right now.
Yes. But how much she had to go through. And she said she's never told anyone. So that's the thing is that, and even he said, if she can't have a kid, I'm good. That's because
here's the difference in their situation. He has kids outside of their marriage,
and I get that,
and so does she.
And the question
question is never she could not have kids. She just, when they did have a child, they misconceived, unfortunately, and it's very unfortunate. But their whole story is very beautiful because even with, I know that you can have children, but now you can't. Papoose was still committed to her. Like, at her worst, like, let's just think about it. Papoose was like single for 7 years,
and he was married,
and was still married to her, but he was still committed to her. So that's the difference. It's like,
and that's what I'm trying to say.
When I marry you, like, I'm marrying you for everything.
What, right.
I don't think, and I don't want to generalize them, but I don't think that our generation now actually takes marriage or love into that. And there is, but what I'm saying is,
I might not be one.
It's very rare that you find somebody in this generation that's like, when I say I love you with everything, like the good, the bad, and the ugly. So.
And I always say that's according to whoever the woman is. It's going to be a woman out there that catch, right? Your partner is, I should say. So it's gonna be somebody that catches you and be like, man, that's word. I don't care what's going on. I got this. So like I said, you can't be. The more you're scared to go do something, it's the more that thing you never know what's gonna happen.
But I do also read and put it on the table from the beginning. Right. So how do you even find the strength to go through?
I think I've just been talking about it so long, so it's not like a ooh, let's break this up. It's like for me, the more I talk about it, it's therapeutic. So,
right.
And then I think it shows me how good his communication skills is at that point, because I can gauge by his response, by me telling him that, if he's going to continue to be in communication with me, or if he's just gonna like go on about it.
Right. But there's so much about you that someone can just fall for. Let's talk about your style. Like your style. Like you have the Diary of a Curvy Girl, which is your fashion blog, and you've been doing this for how long?
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
And so I know church folks, PKs, one of the requirements is to dress up every Sunday.
I guess it just depends on what your church denomination is. But when you're Kojic like me, shout out to Kojic.
See the way she dressed right now.
We are like rhinestone, sequin, extra everything. So. And then my mother kind of like started that with me when I was a baby. Right. She dressed me up every day, literally every day.
So this has been, so
I'm kind of like nurtured
room to do this.
Yeah.
So basically fashion is like your sixth sense.
Yeah.
So, and you know what it is? And for curvy girls, for plus size girls, they can learn a lot from you as far as what to wear and what not to wear and how to wear it. Okay? She is a prime example of how you can make your curves work for you the right way. Okay? Yes.
I'm lost.
She is a fashion expert. Okay? You won Fashion Icon for the Rock Awards.
1 year. That was like super dope because I didn't think that I was going to win. Honestly, you have Racqui, then you have Angel, and then, it's
I'm glad
and all these dope people in Rochester, and I'm just like, yeah, they like super, super dope. And I'm just like, I just put this together. That's it. No, so in my head, I was just like, what? I wonder who it.
Of course. Like,
and I know Racqui was salty because Racqui she likes to win everything.
Listen, that's not true. If I'm gonna lose, I want to lose to the right person. I want to lose to a great competitor. And I'm like, if I'm gonna lose, I'm gonna lose to Tiffany and Nicole. And I want to lose to Tiffany and Nicole. And if it's anybody else, I'm gonna be mad. And because I feel like it was rightfully earned, and I feel like you deserve that because you get dressed, you fly. Okay, she fly, and she took that flyness into pageantry. What got you into pageantry?
Literally Yolanda and Tiffany. Like the year that was my very first pageant, no lie. Before that, I did a cotillion with Young Women of Excellence, sponsored by the AKA, and surprisingly, I won that. And I was like 15 when I did that. And then after that, until then, I had never done pageants before. And then when they did the first year of Miss Curvy Upstate, I entered it. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna do this because this seems fun. And it was like around the time that I had just started my blog. So I'm like, let's try to see what I can do. And then I went down. I was just like, this was fun.
Right.
It's stressful, but it was fun. So I kept doing it.
You kept going.
Yeah.
So you like competed on a national level. You competed in
Miss Plus America.
Miss Plus America.
Yeah.
So what, you basically stopped or?
So this year,
I guess the experience. And talk about that experience that made you stop competing.
Okay. Wait, hold up. She did all of that and stopped.
And then stopped.
Yeah.
What's going on with you?
Yeah.
And starting
can we attack her for that? Thank you, Stan. Go ahead, Stan.
Well, that one was a big thing. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Sound like everything else that you said.
Let's not do that.
So you competed for Miss Plus.
After Miss Curvy Upstate, I did Miss Plus New York. I went and competed as Miss Rochester Plus America. And then after that, I did Miss Empire State. And then this past year, I competed in Miss Plus America as Ms. New York. And I came 4th runner-up.
Miss New York?
4th runner-up, which is really like 5th place, right?
Ooh.
Which is really like you lost.
No, it's really like
it's
how many?
So there's 5. There's 4 divisions. There's Ms. No, there's 3. Yeah, 3. Miss, and Mrs.
Okay.
And then the overall winner is Miss Plus America Elite.
Okay.
So there's 4 division holders: Miss Plus America Elite, Miss, and Mrs. Clearly. So in each division, they score you out who's the highest. And then there's the first winner, second runner, yada yada yada, for each division. So last year I was 1st runner-up. This year I was 4th runner-up. No, like in my mind, I did not react as a queen should have, and I apologize for that because I was just like, what? On the stage, this is what I said. I said, what? Because, 4th runner-up came as a surprise to me because I'm like, I put my all into this. Like, I knew and this is no shade to anybody. I don't want anybody to say that. It's really not. Because I try not to be a shady person now, but this is really no shade to anybody. Like, my evening pants wear was lit. My dress was like amazing. My stage costume was like, my onstage presence was just like radiating. It was to the point where the whole entire audience, every time I came out on stage, was clapping for me and standing up for me. So it's like, there is no possible way. Absolutely.
Wow.
And you see the reactions while you're on stage, while you're actually trying not to forget. So it was really hard that, I heard 4th runner up, and my sister Chloe, she's watching, she was there, my brother was there, like, they both was just like, what? And there's people in the front row that's like, yo, she there's no way she should have gotten 4th runner up. So I felt that way, and the audience felt that way, and it was just kind of like shocking because it's just like y'all don't really know what it took for me to get here. You know what I'm saying? And everybody has that story. Everybody shames that. For Miss Plus America, my registration alone was $1,500. That's not anything else. That's just registration.
So wait, who's sponsoring?
You have to get sponsored.
Yeah.
Or you pay for me. I didn't have any sponsors. I paid out of my pocket. So last year, no, not the church. Last year I probably spent close to $12,000. This year I probably spent way more than that. So you spend a lot of money and you don't make what you put in.
I see why you.
So you really have to be passionate about it when you're doing it.
That's a fact. That is a fact. And I feel as if the way she reacted upset a lot of people that was rooting for her. And it is crazy because pageantry, I've done pageants before and all that, and it really is disappointing when you put in all that work and, you know, someone that you feel that didn't deserve it got it before you. But yeah, the way she reacted.
Yeah, but that's an emotion. That's a real emotion.
That's a real emotion.
So, yeah,
yes.
So.
And I felt so bad afterwards, but then I was just like,
because sometimes like I would click through certain things and then you see it on YouTube and then you watch how certain girls react with all smiles. Like, hell, you know, you can't be smiling like that.
Yeah, so that's the first thing that they teach you, you know, when you're doing pageantry. Win graciously. That's what they tell you. Win graciously. And I didn't win graciously.
So you still placed?
I mean, no, I didn't. I'm just gonna be honest. I didn't, like, fourth runner-up is not a place to me. That's, you know, that's.
So
that's a nice try.
Win big or wrong?
For me, absolutely. I'm not used to like losing.
Yeah.
Everything that I've done, I've always like came first place.
So it could have been a humble experience.
But I didn't go into it with a big head or cocky head.
No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying this could be preparing you for what you just said that you just announced.
Yeah, you're gonna do that. This plus.
She's looking for sponsors that get like 5%.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to get
So what's next with Tiffany Nicole? What was going on? The curvy Diary of a Curvy Girl. How was that going? What's next?
So I've taken a break from that because of pageant stuff.
Okay.
So December 1st is my comeback.
Yes.
I've been doing, I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, but I've been doing like color aesthetics. So
what's your Instagram page?
The Diary of a Curvy Girl.
Yes.
So I've been like doing color aesthetics on Instagram. So next month will be all rhinestones, all sequins because it's the holidays. So I'm really excited about shooting that.
Who is your photographer? Like, who do you have? I'm like, who is available all the time for you?
So let me give y'all the inside scoop about my shoots for my blog. So typically, I either have my sister Amani or I have my friend BJ shoot all of my stuff for my blog. But we bang out like 3 to 4 looks each shoot.
Okay.
Yes. And we'll go to like different locations. Yes. And so we hear it a lot, but it's levels to this. Yes. So it's like, you shoot everything in one day, and then you have to edit, and then you have to pick your aesthetic post, and then you have to time where you're going to post to get the maximum engagement. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes, like, a lot of my posts are sponsored by different brands and companies, so I have to make sure I get this done in a timely fashion so I can continue the working relationship with them.
Instagram model?
I'm not like really an Instagram model because they have money.
Right.
But, I'm happy with the collaborations because eventually that will make bigger collaborations with where I'm going. And I would love to work with Christian Siriano. So I think that's my ultimate goal as a blogger. But outside of that, I'm planning on doing a self-esteem workshop next year. So I'm working on that. I'm trying to figure out if this is something that I should really do in Rochester, or if I should like reach out and probably do like a meet and greet in a central location for my followers.
Yes.
Outside of that, work on the radio, school, my business, my shoe business, and
you have a lot going on.
I really do.
And I really wish you came earlier. Because I know you have a lot going on. I know that we could cover like
Wait, she got out. Did she say
shoe business? Couture creations.
And you saying, never mind. I was gonna say nobody. You think nobody wants to?
I mean, it's about for a lot of people, making babies and having babies is like the end all be all. So regardless of what your resume is, if you can't do that, it's like.
All right, so what's can I ask what her list is in a minute?
Yeah, go ahead.
My list in a minute. So I don't ask for much. I'm just gonna put that out there.
So that means your whole life.
No, it's really not. It's really not. I really don't need a man to buy anything for me. What I need from a man is like communication, time, affection, and support. That's it. That's a relationship. That's a relationship, yeah. But it's like when you ask for the simple things, you get nothing. So, like, I literally don't, and you know, obviously, for me, God is like number one in my life, so I need you to love God more than you will ever possibly think about loving me. Ooh. My dad taught me that. So, like, if you don't love my dad, if you don't love God the way my dad loves God, and if you don't love my mom the way my dad loves my mom, 32 years later, like, they're still flirting with each other 32 years later. Like, I want that type of, like, if my husband is not in the bed next to me, I can't sleep because I miss him so much. You know what I'm saying? My mother is able to fit, and it was not. It was not. It definitely, like, I could tell you stories about their marriage that really the average person probably would have walked away from it. It wasn't because neither one of them cheated on each other. It was just life was super hard. But again, when you're committed to that person and you're committed to making this marriage work for the sake of y'all sanity and the kids that you're bringing into this, you put the work in. So, like, I'm always going to revert any person that's in my life back to my father. Like, you have big shoes to fill.
So they have to go to church as much as you can do.
So for me, because I am called to ministry, they need to be able to have a relationship outside of me. I can't be the reason why you're going to church.
So you don't have to be at church.
I don't want to be the reason why you're here. So before I meet you, I need you to be going to church. And before you meet me,
are you trying to, like,
you have to
throw your resume in?
I'm just saying that I just want to, like, the guys out there to know. I'm okay with PK donors. I'm definitely fine. I know how they.
Are they really freaks though? Are the PK freaks?
I felt like you were going to ask me that question.
Yeah,
I was waiting for it to come.
Because Racqui loves being juicy, and I can't answer for all PKs. I'm going to say that every stereotype about PKs is not always true. That's the political answer. But
so yes, they are.
I don't know. Well, you know.
Do we have a Bible in here? I need to.
Do we have a Bible?
Nah, you don't have to do all that.
Do we have a holy order?
This is my favorite word. God is my
So, are you a freak? I'm just asking for.
I don't.
Let's clear it up. Would that man be happy?
Absolutely. But he's not gonna be happy because of what I can do for him sexually. He's gonna be happy because of what I can do for him emotionally and mentally. Because honestly, that overtakes anything. That wasn't a cop-out. I'm just saying, like, that overtakes anything because let's just be honest, like, if life is rough, sex is not going to help.
That's true. You
gotta have something more than sex. I mean, sex is great and it can be the bombest sex ever. But if I can't communicate with you and if I can't stand looking at you outside of sex wise, like, what are we doing?
Okay. I'll take that. It was a cop out, but
How is it a cop out? He's going to be happy.
So that means yes. I just told you. The answer is yes.
I feel like you're throwing your resume on the low. I'm gonna let you rock out. Because you know what? God knows my heart.
Yeah, God knows mine too. My faith is God knows me, and He knows what I am.
Okay.
She be like,
I know.
We're not going to church this week?
What? Oh, it is. You know what? It is 6:01. It's time to run out to shut down. So next we got the Queen Code, Tiffany, Nicole.
Yeah, she's already here.
She's already here.
Where's your partner from?
She's on her way.
Oh, we can still talk. We can still talk. So I know a lot of times you have to address the fact that you dress. Sometimes the way you dress kind of gets criticism from the church.
Yeah.
Do you like? I'm not messy.
She doesn't follow. She doesn't follow. That's what I was about to say. She doesn't follow.
Because here's the thing,
she's
especially with curvy church women and Christian women, I think people put the sole responsibility of a man's reaction on the woman, and that's not fair to us.
I agree with that.
So how a man reacts to what I have on and my body shape and whatever the case is, that's not my problem. That's your problem. Because you're the one that can control your physical nature at all. That's in no way. That's like asking a person that has been a victim of some type of sexual crime. Well, what did you have on and what did you wear? It doesn't matter what she had on or what situation that happened before that. that still was that man's or woman's responsibility for how they chose to respond to that situation. So I always tell people, especially because like 95% of the stuff that I have, especially when I work in church, is custom made. I'm getting it made to my body. So if you don't like that, I will tell you, because again, you're not paying for it. So you can't say nothing to me at all. So, I think that...
What's the worst thing you've heard?
I have been called the congregation. I have been called a hoe a lot of times when we go to church, just because of what I've had on and how their either boyfriend or friend or somebody that they were interested in responded to it. And it's just like, I'm not saying that.
Wow. From the church, did you get to kick them out?
It wasn't necessarily my church to keep anybody out.
You pray for that? You pray for them?
I did not pray for anybody. I did not. I'm just going to be honest. I did not. But yeah, you just have to learn how to politically respond to yes and you don't want to.
Right.
Your church have more drama than your church.
But this is not me from home.
They have drama, they have the freaks. So there's so you have this infamous hashtag you use, Dear Future Husband.
Yes.
Dear Future Husband. So can we safely say that you are ready for a husband?
I am definitely ready.
You are definitely ready for a husband. Have you ever gotten any critique from your hashtag, Dear Future Husband?
So I have.
You look desperate, or
I have definitely heard that me doing that has made me look desperate and kind of thirsty and kind of lonely and kind of bitter and kind of sad.
I got a better question. Have any guy ever answered I'm here?
Of course, yeah. But here's the thing: they were already moving.
Ooh.
So clearly, I wasn't talking about you. So yeah.
Stuff kind of went silent. No shade.
I wasn't expecting that kind of answer. But, wow.
So what is that purpose for you doing Dear Future Husband?
So
are
really,
you recruiting on the
I'm not recruiting anybody, but I think that especially the temperature of our society, marriage isn't like a goal for anybody anymore. So for me posting my Dear Future husband status is kind of like I'm normalizing marriage, and I'm putting a face to like no one is actually doing this marriage. We actually do want to have a family and have a foundation of a family one day. And also by doing that, I think that I'm also showing women that you can desire love and you can also treat your husband the way that you want to be treated. Because sometimes women put out like, I want my husband to wine and dine with me and cater to me and love me, and it's just like, yeah, but what are you doing for him? Are you doing the same thing? You know? Right. So that's my whole purpose for doing Dear Future Husband. So it's been dope, and I love it.
Well, I look at it that you're speaking that in existence.
Yes. That too. So if my husband is on this live, hey babe.
Dear Future Husband. All right, to close it out, give us your best one. Dear Future Husband.
Dear Future Husband, I am waiting to say I do.
And I'm a freak. That's what she meant to add.
Before God watching.
God is definitely watching.
Exactly.
And he knows my heart.
And he knows your listen. That's what all the freaks say. Yo, it's a rundown with your girl Racqui every Monday right here on 100.9 FM from 4 to 6. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next week Monday. My boy, you just something the ones and twos. See you same time next week, son. You gonna be here?
Thanks.
Thank you, Tiffany, Nicole, for coming through. Rashad and Deep for coming through. Don't forget, we have the holiday, my dream holiday going down this Friday at Taste of Bahamas.
Is anybody out there?